What's the real reason behind the increasing attacks on U.S. bases by Iranian proxies? Let's delve into the heart of the Middle East, specifically the oil-rich eastern province of Deir al-Zor, Syria. This region has become a hotbed for escalating skirmishes between U.S. forces and Iran-aligned militias. The province, divided by the Euphrates River, is home to tribes with deep-rooted ties to Iraq. Well, before going forward, if you like the information, please subscribe and share. Strategically located in this region are two large oil and gas fields where the U.S. forces and their allies, the Syrian Democratic Forces, have established their bases. In stark contrast, the Syrian government and its allies, including Iranian units, hold control over the provincial capital, the border town of Abu Kamal, and the area south and west of the river. This geographical divide has become a breeding ground for increased confrontations, with Iran-aligned groups launching attacks on U.S. forces, including rocket and drone strikes. In response, the U.S.-led coalition retaliates with precise airstrikes, creating a relentless cycle of violence and power assertion. But what is Iran's stake in this conflict? Iran and its proxies have played a critical role in helping Syrian President Bashar al-Assad regain territory and establish zones of influence throughout the country. Beyond military support, Iran has also aided Syria in energy and mineral exploitation, further strengthening its foothold in the region. This rising tension is not just about physical skirmishes or territorial disputes. It's about asserting influence, maintaining control over strategically significant locations, and, for Iran, signaling their ability to destabilize the region. However, despite the escalating confrontations, neither side seems to desire a full-scale war. The risk of an all-out confrontation remains low, as both sides are aware of their limitations and the catastrophic consequences of a full-on war. Yet, the possibility of miscalculation looms, threatening to tip the delicate balance of power in this volatile region. As tensions rise, both sides continue to enforce their zones of influence, leading to increased confrontations. As we continue to observe the unfolding situation, the question remains: will this cycle of conflict and retaliation lead to a more significant escalation, or can a diplomatic resolution be achieved? Only time will tell. The Al-Tanf garrison, a U.S. Special Operations base in Syria, finds itself in the crosshairs of a shadow war. Nestled in the heart of the Syrian desert, this base has been more than just a military outpost since its establishment in 2016. It's a hub of multifaceted operations, a bulwark against ISIS, and a counterweight to Iran and its proxies. From launching counter-terrorism operations to thwarting smuggling attempts and delivering humanitarian aid, Al-Tanf has been vital in maintaining a semblance of stability in the region. However, as the chessboard of Middle Eastern geopolitics shifts, Al-Tanf has become a hotbed of contention. It's not just the US and Iran locking horns here. Israel, Russia, and other regional powers are also part of this intricate dance of dominance. Israel's strikes on Iranian-backed forces in Syria, often flying over Al-Tanf, have inadvertently drawn the base into the line of fire. This has triggered a string of retaliatory attacks from Iran and its proxies, turning Al-Tanf into a flashpoint in a broader shadow war. An Iranian-launched drone strike in August was a stark reminder of the escalating tensions. The strike ignited a series of skirmishes between US and Iranian-backed forces, casting a long shadow over the base and its troops. Amid this, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine could potentially add another layer of complexity to the situation. As Russia shifts its focus to Ukraine, the dynamics in Syria are bound to change. The question now is, what does this mean for the future of Al-Tanf and US forces stationed there? Will they continue to stand their ground in this shadow war, or will the shifting sands of Middle Eastern geopolitics demand a new strategy? The dynamics in Syria are changing as the world's eyes turn towards Ukraine. But what does this mean for the future of Al-Tanf and US forces stationed there? In late March, a suspected Iranian drone struck a base in Syria, marking a new chapter in this cycle of conflict. This was not an isolated incident, but rather a continuation of a long-standing pattern. An American contractor lost his life in this strike, and several US troops were injured. In response to this, the US retaliated, leading to a series of attacks between the US and Iranian-backed forces. As the violence escalated, it wasn't just the US and Iran who were involved. Israel too had a role to play. The Middle East's complex geopolitical landscape saw Israeli forces carry out strikes against Iranian assets in Syria. These actions in turn provoked retaliatory attacks from Iran on US forces. So, what motivates Iran to engage in this cycle of violence? It's not merely an act of war, but a strategic move. Iran's intention is to inflict discomfort and to signal their ability to destabilize the region. Yet, both sides are aware of their limitations. Neither the US nor Iran desires a full-scale war. They're stuck in a violent dance, each responding to the other's moves, all while trying to avoid crossing a line that could lead to an all-out confrontation. While the risk of escalation remains low, the cycle of conflict continues, with the potential for miscalculation a constant threat.